On today's show, I am joined by Lauren Williams of the AJC to discuss the first 3 games of Summer League and much more, and it's coming up right now.
You are Locked On Hawks, your daily Atlanta Hawks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 2023 of the Locked On Hawks podcast. I am your host, Rowland, coming to you deep into the night here on a Tuesday evening into Wednesday. And I want to encourage you at the top of the show to make Locked On Hawks your first listen each and every day. Check us out and subscribe to the podcast anywhere you find your podcast. That includes Apple and Spotify. We're also on YouTube. Tell your friends, and we appreciate you being here as always. I talked to Lauren Williams of the AJC on Monday evening in Las Vegas about the first 3 games of Summer League and some of the more big picture takeaways and the context from talking to coaches and the players and press conferences and all that stuff from Las Vegas. So that was a fun interview that we'll dive into in a second. Just wanted to say that at the top. It was recorded Monday night. Nothing really has changed. The Hawks had Tuesday off. I'm recording this. Forgive the audio quality. I'm kind of in transit as one would be covering Summer League. But stay tuned. We'll have full coverage of the game on Thursday, everything in between. So that's all we have for now. But anyway, without any further delay here, we'll dive in right now with myself and Lauren Williams on the Hawks and Summer League. I am joined now by the ringleader of the Hawks beat, so to speak. Lauren Williams of the AJC is here. Hello. How are you? I just saw you like 20 minutes ago.
For real. And I am not for the record, I am not the ringleader. As much as Brad likes to say I'm the leader or I'm in charge, I am not in charge at all.
You're in charge. It's fine. People understand. So I'm thankful for your willingness to do this. I will have run a more typical like game breakdown podcast like I normally would on Monday. This is going to go the next day. But we've been talking the whole time. It's like, why don't we just talk about this stuff on the podcast? And It's been 3 games. We don't know who's going to keep playing. I thought you actually asked the right question to Brian Bailey after the game on Monday. Basically, it was, expecting the answer we got. But it was kind of like, hey, who's going to keep playing or if they're going to. But they're 3-0. This is actually new territory. Hawks haven't been 3-0 in Summer League in a long time. This is not the way they usually operate. So I guess big picture, I mean, we can look ahead a little bit. We'll mostly talk about players, but what have you taken away so far? It's been 3 games and they've actually won all. They've been losing all 3 and they've come back to win all 3, which has been interesting.
Honestly, I think my biggest takeaway is just, and it was kind of the common theme right today with a lot of the guys' answers, but the leadership of Kobe Bufkin. And that's huge, especially if the Hawks are kind of positioning him as the backup point guard, even though Ansi Soleil would never say, that the Hawks are looking for a backup point guard. I think it might have been either you or Terrence Moore asked Ansi about if they would have any plans to go get another point guard, but he was like, I'm pretty confident in the ball handlers that they are. But I think the fact that Kobe has been the organizing force for this team for a lot of those comebacks, says a lot about what he's learned in this system, what he's kind of taken away from the 2 seasons that he's been injured. Even though he's not playing, clearly he's taken some things that have been valuable, that have been helpful. And then I also have been pleasantly surprised by Nikola Durisic. I mean, obviously, I don't think he's anywhere near ready to play in the NBA just yet, but I do think we're seeing some really good moments of growth from him, just, steadily kind of moving in the right direction. Obviously, he's probably going to be like, the 15th man on this roster when the regular season kind of begins. But, he's doing some invaluable things for this team. And I think he played a big part in that comeback on Monday against the Rockets. So some good stuff. I also like Asa Newell. He's been pretty good as well. I think the big thing, and he would say it himself, I'm sure you talked about it on the show, but, growing into that grown man body, putting on some weight, putting on some strength. But it feels like he's making most of the right decisions, and that's what you want to see out of a 19-year-old. Obviously, this is Summer League. You don't want to take too much away. You have to take things with a grain of salt. But I feel like we're seeing some good things, and the fact that it's positively impacting them in them having a 3-0 record is pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly there. Like, it is Summer League. You're always trying to walk that balance of like what actually matters and what doesn't. like, especially the organizational stuff. Like, I think the player stuff, it matters. Like, that's what most of what we're here to do is look at the players that are interesting and like what they look like. But Brian Bailey's doing what Brian Bailey's supposed to do, and he's saying the organizational things. But he's right, and I said this on the show, I think on Monday. I can't remember when I said it, but it's like the resilience point that they keep driving home, like, kind of was the team last year. Like, they did this a lot last year, and I think it's like an organizational mindset they want to have. Like, obviously, every team wants to have that mindset, but they're kind of like, hey, don't ever roll over, don't ever like get down, and like always kind of fight back mindset. They are trying to distill that, whether that means anything in summer league or not. Like, they do preach that. I know you've heard them say it numerous times, but it seems to be coming through. And I mean, again, summer league caveats apply, but I think it's like means something of some kind that they've done this 3 games in a row. It's like they could have rolled over in any of these games. They didn't. Like, honestly, Monday's game, I thought they were going to lose. Like,
same.
They're down 16 in the third quarter. Nothing's going well. Buffkin's playing poorly. Like, it was not going well. And then suddenly Buffkin has the 8-0 run and they're off to the races.
And shout out to Jamila, for saying it, because Jamila Johnson of Atlanta Hawks fans, she was like, Kobe's about to take over. And I looked at her like, you sure about that?
She was right.
The 3. She was right. Hits the 3, then he hits that layup, and then he hits another 3. And I was like, not you predicting the future right now. And that was just like such the perfect turning point for this team. I think the game on Sunday, they weren't down double digits at any point, but again, it goes back to that resiliency factor. But 2 of the 3 games of them having double digit deficits, and them coming back again, to your point about that resilience, I think is huge, especially as we said with the Hawks last year and them not being a team that rolls over. But I don't know. I think I've just been very impressed with Kobe and just how poised he's been, which is what you would want out of a guy who, even though he's had those injuries his first 2 seasons, the fact that he is taking on that leadership role willingly and isn't necessarily trying to defer to anybody is a pretty good sign, in my opinion, for what you want in a third-year guard who has missed so much time.
Yeah, and some of that about Kobe, some of that it's like, will be the case no matter what for the guy who's been around the longest. That, like, at Summer League, there's always a guy at Summer League. It's like, hey, this guy's been around the longest. He kind of gets the leadership by default. There's some of that, but also, I mean, we heard it today. I mean, I know Jamila talked to Jack McVay. He said the same thing. Like, Kobe's the leader on the Summer League team, and not just by default. Like, they're like looking to Kobe. He's carrying himself that way. Again, like, it's not the biggest deal in the world, maybe not, but it matters to some degree. And I wonder, like, he and Asa are the 2 biggest stories just inherently. You have this year's first round pick, and then 2 years ago first round pick, and who's been hurt, and he's back at Summer League. But on Kobe, like, he hasn't been perfect. Like, he's had some highs, he's had some lows. I thought he was pretty bad in the first half on Monday, for example.
Exactly.
So I wonder what you are making of his on court right now, because it seems like Hawks fans are kind of down on Kobe, which I understand. He hasn't been around. People don't like when guys are hurt. I understand that. But, and again, I'm not saying he's been great, because he hasn't, but he's had some really good moments. I think he's like kind of looked the part for the most part. Like, he's been pretty good. He hasn't done the like so dominant that you don't worry about it thing at all. But you mentioned earlier, and I want to build on this too, organizationally, they're saying all the right things. I mean, on the record, I'm sure you've heard stuff behind the scenes too that I have. Like, they seem to just they still like Kobe, and maybe they wouldn't say that they wouldn't even if they did. Like, they probably wouldn't say that, but like they are kind of going out of their way to make it clear, like, he may not be the backup point guard, but he's got a role, and they still believe in him. And he's probably rusty too. Hadn't played in a long time. I don't know. What do you think of the entire Kobe experience on the court?
On the court, I mean, there've been some high highs and some low lows, as we talked about with Monday. The 9 turnovers is kind of rough, and he'd be the first to say. I mean, he said it himself. He felt good Monday, but he's like the turnovers were just too many, and so that's the kind of self-awareness that you would want in somebody who might be running your offense at small parts in games. I don't anticipate that he's going to be playing a ton of minutes, because as we said, the Hawks went out and got so many guys who could go out and handle the ball. You expect Jalen Johnson to be pretty healthy, and hopefully stay healthy in the regular season. But again, you have to take this stuff with a grain of salt, because Kobe is probably one of the most experienced guards that's on the Summer League kind of scene right now, just by default. being in the NBA, being around NBA talent for 2 years. A lot of these other guys have played overseas, or they're in the G League, or whatever it is. But he's been around a guy like Trae Young, who is known as a guy that can really pass the ball, that can really organize things on the court. And so I feel like that says something about what he's taken away from his first 2 years in the league, even if it hasn't been on court experience. But I think I like how vocal he's been. I like that he's been, intentionally trying to include everybody in everything. There have been some weird decisions that he's made, I think, in terms of shot selection, especially on Sunday afternoon. But I think he was a little bit more cautious on Monday, and then it ended up kind of paying off, even though, organizationally, he wasn't as great, especially in that first half. But I think when it was time for it to really matter, even though obviously the entire game matters, but in those crunch time situations, for him to do what he was doing, I think that speaks volumes for, what the Hawks can get out of him in the future.
This is brought to you by Monarch Money. Do you ever wish that managing your money felt just a little bit easier? With Monarch Money, it absolutely can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch Money puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. And at Monarch Money, they are more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center for you. You can track all of your accounts, your investments, and your spending all in one place. So on top of managing your money, you're also building wealth. And that's, of course, very, very important and helpful. Having your own financial tools in one place makes things really easy for you and more convenient as well. There's no wasting time in juggling multiple apps. And if you're anything like me, you might have some subscriptions piled up from the past. And at Monarch Money, they help clean that stuff up in a hurry to clean all that stuff that you actually don't need, take it away, and make it very much easy for you. Take control of your finances right now with Monarch Money and use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for half off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. The code is LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. On the thing you just brought up kind of in that answer about Kobe, I think there's a misnomer that Hawks fans have a little bit about like the backup point guard thing. And earlier, if people are not watching on YouTube, you use giant quotation marks with your fingers, and I agree with you on that. Like the Hawks are going to do this by committee. And I know that's not always popular, but it's not just lip service. They have so many different guys who can handle the ball.
Even Luke Kennard can go out there if you need him to and do
definitely.
I
think part of what I've even heard is like part of why they wanted Kennard is that he could maybe be in the backcourt with Dyson or with Nikhil and kind of be the point guard on offense, and then have those guys play the point guard role on defense. And they have that's three of them. You got Kennard, Nikhil, Dyson. Kobe's in that mix, of course. You even got Veet. You've got Jalen. Like I think they're comfortable, and they can still sign a point guard.
Even in some situations, yeah.
It wouldn't stun me if they sign a point guard still. Maybe it's Keaton Wallace on a two-way or a minimum contract, whatever. But like they're okay, I think. And it's never, even if Kobe was lights out great this week, I don't know if he would enter the training camp being like, hey, he's definitely going to play 15 minutes a game. Like, I don't think that's where they are. I mean, he's going to have to earn it. And that's where it should be.
If anything, I think because of those injuries and like just because of how much Veet had an impact on the team last year, how much Dyson had an impact on the team last year, Zachary, and then obviously with the additions of Alexander Walker and Kennard, I kind of put Kobe as your sort of 10th man, 11th man, just because there's so many other pieces ahead of him, not just necessarily from a ball handling standpoint, but just from a player standpoint, you know what I mean? And in terms of what they need, because obviously you never want to predict the rotation in July.
It's hard.
It is. But I think if you're going to do it, like obviously, you have your starting five. I anticipate that, Zachary keeps that starting three position. Porzingis comes off the bench just so that they can manage his minutes. And then, it's going to be between Porzingis and Nas, your sixth man, depending on the situation. Then you have Luke in the mix. He's probably your seventh or eighth man, again, depending on the situation. And then you put Mo Gay in there. Like, we haven't even talked about him because they need his size, especially in situations, where, they want to manage Porzingis and have him play, 20 minutes? There's still another what, 28
Yeah.
that you have to go.
They need more front court for sure. Like between
Yeah.
Mo and Asa and whoever else you want to throw in there, like they got
Exactly, Jay.
bodies.
Like I just don't think Kobe is that high up in the rotation. Even if he, as you said, goes out, plays lights out, wows them in training camp, there's just so much more pieces ahead of him. So I think this is just from a development standpoint. That's all we're at right now.
That's what Summer League is for. And I know it's like it's hard for people to. I get that he's going into his third season, but he has not played the amount of basketball in the last 2 years that most guys have played. And also, he's still young. Like he's younger than a lot of first round picks were in this last draft. Like it's
21.
It's his third season. It matters, and I'll probably cover it a lot. I'm sure you will too. Like in 3 months when his rookie option decision has to be done, that's going to be a topic. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, Kobe's been okay to pretty good at times. Not perfect, but that's that. You mentioned Juricic. I want to ask you about him too, because the first half of his first game, he was really bad, and it was kind of wild because he had just signed the contract. I'm like, whoa, this is not going well at all. And then it seems like he was maybe just off kilter that day.
Yeah,
I try to give him some grace that day by saying the contract, like, hey, it's life changing. It's a life changing day for him. Like he had a rough game, but he signed a contract. And since then he's been good. I mean, he's played well the last 2 games. They seem to like him. What have you made of that? Because he's, like you said, he's going to be on the team. He's the 15th man probably right now, but he's on the team. Like we kind of know that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's just essentially it. He's really I can't even say breaking case of emergency situation because like I still think they're gonna be people ahead of him. Like you mentioned Keaton, you mentioned Jacob Top. I just think they're like the two-way guys are even gonna be kind of ahead of him. So maybe he's even like your 16th, 17th, 18th man.
I do think Toppin is signed right now.
Yeah.
I think if you gave the Hawks true serum and said, who do you trust to play an NBA game right now, Toppin or Juricic, it would be Toppin.
It's going to be Toppin. But I've been very pleasantly surprised, especially, him spending most of the time in the G League last year. And it was kind of like mixed results there just because of the injury history. He just never seemed to fully get into a rhythm of some kind. He was in and out of the rotations. Like it was just kind of like a lot of up and down. And I think maybe that played a part is that you don't know what your future holds. And so, that affects you mentally, but having maybe that stability has sort of allowed him to kind of ease or what's the word I'm looking for? Calm down, if you will. And so I think he's just doing exactly what they need him to do right now, which is just go out there and play and gain confidence. And it's very clear that from, game 1 of Summer League to game 3, he's just a completely much more confident player. We see him put a guy on a poster on Monday for Christ's sake. And Brian Bailey talks so much about his ability. You mentioned it, for him to get into the lane and just kind of affect the game that way. But I think really, what might even get him on the roster, or not roster, but get him maybe minutes in the rotation in those breaking case of emergency minutes is he steps up his defense, which he's steadily been getting better at. He's moving his feet more. He's getting blocks. He's deflecting. He's, causing people to miss. He's contesting shot, that sort of stuff. Like that's the things that I think the Hawks really want to see him take a step forward on. But I think the big thing, the fact that his confidence is growing is huge. I think a lot of people forget that he's also very young. I know when guys are like 6'8" and as big and, have the body type that he has, they forget how young he is, but he's only 21 as well. And so I think he's kind of similar. I'm not saying that he and Moge are the same person by any means, but I think in terms of just prospect wise, they're both so raw that they have so many ways that the Hawks can still kind of mold them into the player that they need them to be. But I think the foundation is there. I think the big thing is just continuing to work on being maybe a little bit more ambidextrous. I know there are concerns about his ability to go left or kind of shake things up a little bit, but hey, that sort of stuff takes time.
Yeah, it does. And I think he can spend some time in the G League this year, even on a full. I know he's not on a 2-way, but like guys like that, he's going to be in the G League some. Like that's just what's going to happen. And that's, by the way, and the Hawks believe in that as a developmental tool. We've seen that come to fruition. You mentioned Mo, like they've had success stories come out of that. He'll be there again. And I like Yeah, Jalen played there. That's right.
Yeah.
I like the moldable clay, and I mean, you mentioned how young he is.
Yeah.
I keep saying this, but it really is true. I think if people thought about Juricic like he was just drafted in the second round, like 3 weeks ago when the draft actually happened, they'd feel differently about him. And it's kind of like that. That's kind of like what it was. He got like a half a year advance of like being around pros, but like he signed a
This
contract
is essentially
of a
his
second round
rookie
pick.
year.
Basically, yeah, that's what I'm getting at. It's like he's kind of a rookie now. He has a little bit of advanced notice, but he's got the tools, and yeah, the shooting's kind of a question, the defense is kind of a question, but that's okay. I mean, there's a reason why he was intriguing to them in the first place. He's a 6'7", 6'8" guy who can handle the ball and create, and like those guys are not readily available. So if it pops, it pops, and if it doesn't, that's okay. Like they're kind of taking a shot at him, and I like what I saw. Again, if you throw the first half of the first game out, he's been good. Basically, I mean, he has. So we'll see.
He really likes that turnaround fadeaway, and I had to ask him about that. And I liked his answer that it's just something that he's worked on, and he knows that coaches don't love that shot, but if it goes in, it goes in. You know what I mean?
That is literally what he said. He was like, coaches don't like. Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, it's not a super efficient shot, but also there is value to having guys on your team that can do that when you need it. Like sometimes late in games or whatever, like you have to have a guy who can get to the spot, and he can actually kind of do that. So it's pretty interesting.
And it's just been so consistent. So
yeah. He likes it. He likes that mid-range game, and it's interesting to see how that fits in with Quinn, because Quinn's not a huge mid-range guy. That'll be interesting to see how Quinn handles that, but we'll see. I know you've been writing about Asa all week because he's a first-round pick. It's kind of like, I'm sure your editor's like, hey, write about Asa 12 more times if you can.
Like, hammer that home.
And that's fine. I mean, he played at UGA, first-round pick. Obviously, there's a reason for that. I think he's been good.
Well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think he's been good in summer league. I wonder what you think of him as a prospect so far, like what you've seen. And he's the 23rd pick. It wasn't like Zach going number 1 overall, where there's that pressure. He can kind of ease in, but I think he's checked the box that you want to see checked.
Oh, for sure. And I think, like I said at the beginning, I have been very pleasantly surprised about his decision making. You know what I mean? Like there've been maybe like the first game and a half, there were some like kind of questionable shot choices, like going up, trying to fight through contact. And he has to remind himself that he's not quite an NBA player yet in terms of strength. But ever since then, I feel like he's kind of settled in. He's not been afraid to like try and go in the post, try and attack the rim, try and post guys up, find the mismatches. And so the fact that his shot has been falling, at least in summer league, has been, to me, a positive sign, especially because he didn't come into this being known as a shooter, but he's been like, he was like 4 of 6 the last game. Like what was he?
I think he's only 1 of 4, but the one he made was a big one. It tied the game.
Exactly.
At the end of the game. Yeah.
It was huge. And so, I mean, I like it. I like it a lot. The fact that he's also like not afraid to compete for rebounds. That's what the Hawks need. That's what they've always kind of struggled with these last couple of seasons, is guys that are just going to go out there, box out, compete for those rebounds, try to create this second chance opportunities. And I mean, I think they've gotten some of that out of Toppin as well, not to like switch players, but no, it's fine. But I've really, really enjoyed watching Asa. His defense has just been so good. So good. He's moving his feet. He's getting to the right spots. He's rotating in time. Because he hasn't really been in, I know summer league you get 10 fouls, so there's not really a chance for foul trouble, but he hasn't been foul prone. And that's, to me, as at 19, I'll take it.
I mean, and sometimes you see, there's a few today where it's like, in a year, he'll be able to seal this guy off. Like he doesn't have, it's the strength stuff, which we've all talked about. You have, he has, Ansi has, it's not a big secret. But if you see like future facing, all the other tools, I mean, I think Brian Bailey said this twice now. Like they like his stroke as a shooter. Like they really do buy his stroke as an organization, and you can see why. Like it looks good coming out of his hand. Like there's a lot to like.
Yeah,
he's athletic. I mean, you see that. That's the thing about rookies. Like until you see it up close and personal, and in some ways that's a big thing. It's like, all right, do you look athletic in person against pros? And he does. He looks like he's an athlete. So
again, it's like that decision making, the IQ. Like he's everything. And I know Hawks fans hate this phrase, Hawks DNA.
Oh
But
yeah. Well,
if we
so
were
does
back
Ansi,
in the
remember?
Landry Fields era, he would have Hawks DNA to a T. And I don't know. I just think, like you said, there's those little things like the ceiling off, but it's just like once you get used to the pace of the NBA game, I think, the fact that he has those defensive fundamentals, you don't have to worry about him being, as some people might say, a traffic cone on defense. I mean, that's the bare minimum. And the fact that he's doing it at 19, he's engaged. That's the big thing. He's so engaged on defense.
Yeah. I'm gonna get you out of here, but you mentioned
No
Toppin.
rush.
I know you wrote about Toppin too.
Yeah.
And talked to him. He got hurt on Monday. As we're recording this Monday night, we don't have an update beyond he missed the rest of the game. Maybe there'll be an update, but judging by the Hawks recently, they haven't really been eager to tell us a lot of things ahead of time about injuries. We might find out on Thursday. We don't really know. But beyond that, I said on my show, like, I think he's been their best player. Like, as far as like winning basketball today, this week, he's been their best player. He's already signed. But since you talked to him, I wonder what you've seen from him. And like, I know he's in their plans to some degree. Like, everybody seems to like the guy.
I mean, I think that the fact that, again, he's somebody that I feel like if he can, to me, work a little bit more on getting a little bit stronger, that always is going to help. And then also just being available and staying healthy. The fact that, it was a non-contact injury by what we observed, at least.
Yeah, he kind of pulled up on that.
Yeah, you hate to see that sort of stuff, but I've liked him. I like his shooting. I like the fact that he's, getting to the rim, getting those and ones. Those are huge in, game situations. And as you said, he's definitely been their most consistent and best player. And we were talking about it after the game, actually. And I was wondering, if they go 4-0, like, would he be ready to go? Can they sit him in game 4 and him be back if they make it to the semifinals or whatever?
If they're trying to win it, like I think I even said it to you, like they kind of need him to try to win it. If they even care, we don't know if they care yet. But when you're 3-0, like you kind of have to try to win it now. I feel like. So and they need him. I mean, he's really valuable, and honestly, it's like the little things to me. He's handling the ball way better than he was before. Like he's been kind of not like a full on ball option, but he's had the ball sometimes. He shot the ball well this week. He can play both spots defensively at forward. Like. Everyone wants those guys. If you can find a guy who's 6'8", strong enough, athletic enough to play defense, like he's got good bloodlines, obviously, brothers in the NBA. Like it checks a lot of boxes. Like he's really interesting, and they clearly like him enough to sign him to the two-way before summer league. They didn't have to do that. Like,
and I wonder too. I've been wondering if like he's one of those options that they think about converting on that minimum, but then again, it's like he has to be willing to, right?
Well, they can do the minimum on their own, but they can't do like the Vít Krejci contract without him agreeing to, or honestly, or the Durisic contract if you want to use that one instead. Like that was a little bit different, but I mean, someone asked me, I'm sure they asked you the same thing. Like, hey, could they sign Toppin? I'm like, well, they kind of already have, but they could call his agent and say, hey, you want this you want the Vít Krejci contract? Because we'll give it to you right now, and it's great for the team. It gives him a little bit more money in the short term, so there's a little bit of a trade-off there. But
and then also it's just like the opportunity, because it didn't seem like when they brought him on in March that there were a ton of opportunities after New York waived him. So it's like, do you go with the team that kind of took a bet on you and you do the wink under the table, like we'll make this work long term, but right now we need you to do this sort of thing? And I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I know a lot of players, when you talk to them and ask about like, what are your goals? And, what are you hoping to get out of this? They're just like, I'm looking to take advantage of the opportunity. But I mean, he's clearly been doing that.
He has.
And so I don't know if that tells you that maybe there's that, hey, if you do this, maybe we can make this work going on behind the scenes. I haven't heard anything like that. And I doubt anybody would say if it was happening, but I mean, I think he's definitely playing as if there's like a contract on the line.
Yeah, and I hope he's healthy. Again, we don't know right now as we're talking, but I hope he's able to play soon. Even if they shouldn't push him. If there's any doubt at all, you don't play the guy. It's summer league. It doesn't matter that much.
Which is why we were wondering why they brought him back in that second half, because he clearly didn't look okay.
I was surprised. Like when he came back out of the locker room, I was like, oh, surely he must be fine, or they wouldn't let him play. And then it was like pretty quickly clear he was not 100%. It's like, why is he playing?
Nope.
What's going on right now? Anyway, hopefully he's okay. Let's just say I'm rooting for him. He seems to be a good guy. Everybody likes him. So, well, Lauren, before my bosses call me and tell me that I went too long on this podcast, we're gonna sign off. But hey. People should be checking out all of your work at the AJC. I will. I was telling you before we started recording. I was saying I don't like to ask you that much because you're busy, but maybe we'll do this more often. I don't know.
Yeah, Brad, I love talking Hawks with you. So just let me know.
Well, we do end up talking a lot of Hawks because that's just what happens between you and I and Kevin and Jamila and Caleb. We're all just around talking about basketball a lot.
We see each other almost every day.
Is there anything you would like to plug just beyond subscribing to the AJC? Because people should be doing that, but anything else?
No, support local journalism. I think, we're trying to do a lot of really good work. Follow the team. One of the few people who is at almost every single game on the road.
You're the only one. You're the only one that's on the road.
Go to some road games.
Yeah.
I go to and Jamila too.
But you and Jamila are the leaders in traveling. I am probably next, but it's a big gap between. It's okay.
Yeah. So support local journalism.
Support. I'm a subscriber. I read all your stuff. Subscribe to AJC. It's a good thing for people to be doing. And follow. You're on Twitter as well. If people are still on X/Twitter, you are on there.
I am. I tried to do Blue Sky, and it's hard to cross post. I don't have the
I tried it. Occasionally I will do really good for about a week and then I'll just forget to do Blue Sky for 2 days. People are like, where'd you go? I'm like, oh, I just forgot about Blue Sky. But I do check it sometimes. Anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lauren. I appreciate you being here.
Of course. Appreciate you, Brad.
As for everybody else, subscribe to the AJC, subscribe to Locked on Hawks podcast, tell your friends, and we'll see everybody next time.